Hey guys and gals, how we doing? It's me, Joe Sayers, back here from the Music Factory Studios. Today, I'm going to clear up some things that I missed on the last video with PC-LinuxOS, and I'm going to show you what I was talking about in the previous video. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. But first, we're going to check out, before you head over there and see that Trinity PC-LinuxOS video, I'm going to install PC-LinuxOS. I'm doing it in a virtual machine. No, I'm not doing it on hardware, but it shouldn't be very different. And I'm using my Mac. Here are the specs. It's an i7-9750H. It's the last 15-inch MacBook Pro that Apple made in 2019. Has UHD 630 graphics, 16 gigs of RAM. I also have it hooked up to a 5700 RX 5700 Navi GPU, and it has a built-in 555X Radeon Pro with 4 gigs of RAM. And it's a pretty good laptop, but what I like is this PC-LinuxOS Openbox. So this may become my new distro of choice, but let's install it and then we'll come back and go through everything. Now, clear up some of the stuff that I thank you to the community for letting me know that PC-LinuxOS was not based on Ubuntu. I just kind of thought that because of Synaptics. You don't really see that in distros that aren't based on Ubuntu or Debian, but okay, let's install this. So here's what you get when you open up PC-LinuxOS for the first time in the Openbox community version. Okay, you've got Plank at the bottom. Oh, I'm sorry, that was the macOS dock. If you hold it's Control on a Mac, I guess that would be, I'm trying to look over here. It's Control on a PC, I guess. Control, or you will get the Plank menu if you didn't know that. All you gotta do is hold Control and right click, and you get this little menu. I think this is a better way to launch apps than like a Tint 2 bar at the top or bottom, or like Polybar or something, because you've got the applications icon here where you can go through each application, and you also have your right click menu, your basic Openbox menu. And I like to make this icon just a little bit bigger so I can see things. Okay, now you've got a few icons here, and you've got some docklets that you can add, but I like that. Now let's go over here to install PC-LinuxOS. Now we're using the install wizard. Okay, the wizard will help you install PC-LinuxOS. Next, I'm going to choose use free space. If you have made room on a dual boot Windows system, it will have an option there that says install on free space. Just pick that and it will do like every other distro does. I'm not sure what this installer is called, but it does a good job. It doesn't have a way for me to look and see what it is. I have no idea. Maybe somebody can let us know in the comments and I'll pin it. All right, let's use the free space. It's going to compute the total size. Partitions you have selected will be formatted. The data will be wiped. That is fine with me. Next, installing PC-LinuxOS on your computer. I really like this distro. I like the way it looks, the way it feels, and I like the Trinity version, don't get me wrong. But I really, when I open this up, I've tried a bunch of Openbox implementations and never really liked any of them. I tried to build my own in Solus, which was kind of fun. They have everything available to kind of build Openbox the way you want it. And in their, I guess you would call it App Store or whatever, package manager. And I did that, and I still wasn't really pleased. And because I really didn't have the vision to see where it should go, this is wonderful from PC-LinuxOS. All right, bootloader, blah blah blah. Okay, that's fine with me. Next, yeah, finish, and after this, it will reboot. This is called Drac Live. That is what this installer is. Please click Finish, restart your computer, remove the live CD media when prompted. Don't have to do that, we're on a virtual machine, so we'll hit Finish. And we can close this out. Are you sure you want to quit? Yeah, why wouldn't I? Next. It's installed. Looks to be. Here's the content of your disk drive. I'll quit. And I'm going to restart and see what happens. Now, I may not have installed it correctly. We're about to find out. And I don't think I did. Wait. Okay. I did. Hey. There we go. Now, it should ask me when I boot the system, do I want to set up a new user or whatever? Notice that our resolution is wonky while it's booting. PC-LinuxOS. Boy, that's small, but the MacBook Pro screen is actually 3840 by 2400, 16 by 4K by it's a 4K resolution at a 16 by 10 aspect ratio. So I gotta find my time. Gee, I need a magnifying glass here. We'll go with first thing we can find that's remotely close. We got probably a couple for Kentucky. Yes, it's where I'm at. Middle of nowhere, people. I live on the border of the state of Virginia, which is kind of a cool place to live. You get all the benefits of... Okay, get back down there. Oh, for Pete's sake, just give me New York. That'll work. I want regular time because I'm a weirdo. Next. Okay, we'll give it a password. My real name is Joe. You can pick an icon too. I want to be a wrecking car, a car falling out of the sky, a cow, the FreeBSD daemon, a dog with a fork in its mouth, it looked like, an elephant, some kind of flower, a frog. God, don't use the frog. People will accuse you of being something or something just because it's a frog. Oh, there we go, guitar. That works really good. Yeah, I saw a guy playing a concert a few weeks ago, had a Froggy shirt on. It was just a literal, I'll tell you what it was. It was a vintage t-shirt from Budweiser. Had the 3 frogs on it. And I swear these 2 weirdo kids started accusing him of all kinds of crazy stuff. Like, I don't even want to get into it, but it was political. And we're like, dude, those were commercials before you were born. You remember Budweiser, that thing? That was the t-shirt. And it was like, what are we doing here? I understand there's a lot going on in the world, and people have disagreements and this and that, but come on, man. You can't be going around doing that to people, man. Okay, enough of that. Let's talk about distros, because I don't want to alienate anybody. I don't care about politics, but I just thought that was weird, and that just happened a couple weekends ago. And that guy was not a political person either, so I don't know. Okay, we need ARNR here. Configuration, ARNR or XRNR, whichever is installed. You can use outputs, resolution. I'm going to make this 1920 by 1200. That makes it a little bit better. But the max screen is actually 3840 by 2400. And it makes it kind of tough to do anything. You can do 2560 by 1600 if you wanted to. That makes it about this big. which is pretty nice. But I think the best way to go is right here, 1920 by 1200. That way, you're getting basically, double pixel, and everything is really sharp. So that works out good. I'm not sure if it'll come across on a screen recording because I'm not using a capture card. I'm just using screen recording software. So let's look here at our applications. Let's open a terminal first. It should give us like a NeoFetch kind of thing. There we go. It's PC-LinuxOS. I am running in Parallels. And it is Openbox. The theme is Onyx with, I think it's the Breeze icons. No, it's the Oxygen icons. The theme is Breeze. The little toolbar up here is called Onyx. The little client-side decorations or whatever developers call it. CPU is 9750H. We're using the Red Hat GPU pass-through. And it all seems to work great. Let's check out free-m. Some people like to check that out. Tells you about free memory. Let's see if HTOP is installed. Nope, but I know top is. So we can look at top and see what's going on there. All right. Now, it's all set up correctly. It did everything as it's supposed to. Now, let's kind of give Openbox a facelift a little bit here. First thing we want to do is hold down Control and right click. Preferences. I don't like the icon zoom, so I set it to like 110. And then I make my icons a little bit bigger, like 60 for this. You're on a 1080 screen, maybe 39 is usually, 3940 is usually pretty good as far as pixel height. And if anybody got mad at me over talking about the frog thing a minute ago, look, sorry, I apologize. I don't really care. I don't like people to jump onto people for things they don't even have a clue about. You know what I mean? It's like me. Let's take this as an example. I made the mistake of saying that PC-LinuxOS was based off Ubuntu, and I was wrong. I made those assumptions based on a couple things I had read online, and I was wrong. But I'm willing enough to go, hey, I was wrong. I had some awesome commenters on the video go, hey, did you know that PC-LinuxOS has a different init system? So apparently it doesn't use System D. I think they said it used System V or 5. I'm not sure which it is. And it doesn't have sudo by default, so you can use su, the old school Unix style super user. It uses apt for D and F, so that's pretty interesting. And it has, the Synaptic Package Manager, which is the way you get packages. And everything in this, and I could have been like, yeah, but I read it online, blah, 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 and I didn't. I took what they had to say, and I thought, you know what? I did miss those things in my last video, and I'm willing to try to make up for the mistakes I made in the last video on this video while promoting a distro that I think is awesome. So I apologize to all those I made angry in the last video. I didn't intend to make you angry or mislead anyone in any way. Okay, I was just going by what I had read on a couple blog reviews, because there's not really a lot of information out there for PC-LinuxOS that isn't years and years old on like YouTube. There's a few newer ones, but not much, and they don't go into detail about the distro in very many ways. So, yeah, I didn't really have the right amount of information. Apparently, it was based on an older like Mandrake Linux or Marduk, one or the other. I got comments it was based on both, so I'm not sure. So, but it is definitely not based on Ubuntu, which is kind of interesting. In DistroWatch, it says independent, but DistroWatch says independent about a bunch of different distros that are based on other distributions. So That's not a unique thing for DistroWatch to get it wrong, okay? I do remember seeing PC-LinuxOS was like #1 quite a few years ago for a long time on the DistroWatch page hit rankings. I know that doesn't mean a whole lot, but it means a lot of people are checking out your distro on DistroWatch. So that probably correlates somewhat to how many people download it and try it out. Now, let's see what docklets we got real quick. We've got the application docklet, battery if you're on a laptop, Clippy if you need to clip your clipboard in the dock. We've got a trash can, which would be handy, so I'll add that. All you got to do is double click, it adds it. We've got a clock and a CPU monitor. You can change the behavior where it hides or doesn't hide. It's fine with me if it stays there. I'm actually going to put it on the left of the screen, and I'm going to change the theme here to the Mate theme. Now it's kind of gnomish, but it works really well. Now to get this application to work, you might come over here and just click. You don't, you right click and you get the menu. Okay. Now let's see if we've got some options to change the icons. Okay, because I think here's the thing. If this is going to be the default from PC-LinuxOS, this applications icon looks like nothing. It just looks like a square. It doesn't really look like anything. If you hover over it, it says applications, but if you were to click on it, you wouldn't know. So it may do some benefit to all distributions that you put a little pop-up up that pops up and says, hey, here's 5 or 10 quick pieces of advice or things you might want to know before you start this new distribution, because not everyone is a Linux aficionado or open source desktop environment aficionado. So they may just try it out because they heard somebody on the internet say, hey, you know what? PC-LinuxOS is awesome. And they go grab the ISO and then they open it up and they're like, I don't know how this works. Tell you a distro that does a really good job at that is Deepin. They have a video that plays when you first open Deepin, and it kind of guides you to the general basics of things you may need to know. It's not overly complicated or overly thought out, but one thing I would advise is maybe a different icon set just because of the application thing. It doesn't really look like anything, so you wouldn't know what to do with it. Okay, let's go with configure your computer. We'll put in our super secret password here that we used a minute ago. Okay, that's nothing I really need to use. So go applications and we'll go to configurations, and we will check out the Openbox configuration manager. Okay. And I'll tell you the one I personally think works pretty well. This Brave Dark works really well if you've got a brown theme. Let's see here. What's configuration? Let's go into here we go. There it is. TDE Dark. What does that look like? Bang. Does that work? You gotta have white of dark, a fly. That might fly right there. The Onyx is okay. Don't get me wrong. I got nothing against it. I just don't like white, especially if I got the lights turned out or something. Gosh, it can burn your eyeballs out. So I guess brown it is. Let's see the slickness. You got slickness. That's kind of weird. It works though. That's kind of like old school dark mate or something. Well, or known to Breeze Dark and TDE. I kind of like this TDE over Breeze. Yeah, I do. I like it quite a bit better. Oh, here's one that's color. I don't mind either. Color doesn't bother me. That it's purple and blue or whatever. What does the little menu look like? Yeah, it's white. So, no real option there to get around. And, you know, I had somebody comment like, I'm surprised you spent so much time on how it looks. Well, here's the thing. A new user pays attention to 3 things. Are the apps that I want installed, a good web browser, you know, and things of that nature. Does the Wi-Fi work? And does it look good? Are the icons appealing? And is the theme appealing? That's really what new users look at. Other than that, they'll deal with everything else. Have you seen Microsoft's OS? They'll deal with the rest as long as it's decently okay. Because that thing is a dumpster fire and has been for about a decade now. But I think, yeah, Breeze is okay. And the TDE Dark is okay. You know, both of them, that works for me. Now, what file manager did they choose? Is it Thunar or is it PC-Man-FM? It is PC-Man-FM. Good job to PC-LinuxOS for using PC-Man-FM. I think it's probably a better file manager than Thunar for Openbox. I've seen it done both ways. I still think Nemo blows them all out of the water as far as a graphical package manager. I mean, not package manager, excuse me, file manager. It just works a little bit better. Now let's see what icons we've got. They've used the Oxygen icons. They've got the Lock Happy Time, which is basically Mac looking icons. Yeah, I mean, I think it looks great. I think it's a really nice distribution of Linux. I'm really, really impressed with PC-LinuxOS. I don't need but one desktop because I end up having apps open and I end up on the second desktop and I forget to close them before I shut down the machine, and that annoys me. So I never need more than one, unless I'm on like GNOME or, you know, something of that nature. All right. That looks okay to me. I'm cool with that. Okay. The Plank theme, I'm good with that. You've got basically GTK, Mate, you know, all that good stuff. The normal suspects are there. But these little apps like the Control Center from PC-LinuxOS are special applications that I've only seen in PC-LinuxOS. I haven't seen really anywhere else. Excuse me. And it's really nice for setting up hardware, such as if you have AMD or NVIDIA graphics, or if you need your sound fixed up, or you want to set up a special kind of pointer or mouse, a different keyboard layout. These little things, this is wonderful. It makes the world easier for a new user. There's just a few little tweaks that could be done. I need to check out one of their mainline desktop environments to see if this is just these little things that I think could be tweaked to make it better for a new user are available on the mainline desktop environments, and it's just a symptom of it being a community edition, or maybe not. But you've got a bunch of options there for things you can configure, and it makes it so much easier to get your system up and running correctly. And I like that. Okay. We also have AR&Rs in here. You've got your LX Appearance, which is behind my menu here. Ntfs configuration tool. So, what is this? Okay, so you could write to a secondary drive. Say you got a laptop with 2 drives on it, and the secondary drive is Ntfs. You can use this for that. That's an awesome feature to have, because a lot of people dual boot. They keep Windows around just to play games and things of that nature. You've got the Tint 2 settings down here is Tint 2. It's got your volume. And you can set, you know, icons and blah, 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 and whatever you want in your little menu bar here. I like this. I like this a lot. Now, what I am going to do, I'm going to log out and log back in just to see if we got our icons and everything changed out correctly. It should. We're back to 4,000. It's got Brave as the default browser at our 4K, not 4,000. But Brave is the default browser, which is awesome to see. The one thing I hear from people who ask me to switch their older machines to Linux because they just run Windows like trash is, can I get Chrome or something besides Firefox? Because I don't like Firefox. You hear that from a lot of people. It's like, yeah, I can install Chrome, but you might like this better. So I usually install either Brave or Chromium, and most people are fine with that. Now, we could hide the dock if we wanted to, but it's nice to have Brave here. You can go into your settings and make it dark. You can make it use GTK and dark, and boom. There, we're matching the rest of the system pretty much. Classic or GTK. That's nice to have. I'll close that. I don't need that any longer. I'm going to grab this and close it. And what else was installed here? We'll go through it. And the applications got our NetApp, Secura. I'm not sure what that is. Archiving, we've got your basic compression, decompression applications. Time Shift, which is a kind of like the Mac has an app called Time Machine, and if you've ever seen Time Machine, Time Shift is sort of like Time Machine for Linux. It's a good way to make backups. Excuse me. And no, I don't have the dreaded beer virus. I won't say what it is because this video might disappear if I use that. You can configure your computer. You got LX Appearance, as we talked about. The Tint 2 settings, the Tint Wizard. For development, we've got LibreOffice. We've got LeafPad. We've got BleachBit, BleachBit Root, DD Copy, which is nice for making thumb drives. We've got Gparted, which is great to see. That can come in really handy. We've got desktop preferences, which we've already kind of saw that. We can change our, change around anything we want to kind of change around. We've also got file tools. We had the My Live USB, PCMan FM, and an option for the root PCMan FM if you want to install something in the root directories or the user directories. We've got a game, the PySol Fan Club Edition. I don't know what that is. I don't do games. We've got GIMP and XCAM and a scanning app. Brave. Discord is installed. That is awesome to see. Iridium, which is another web browser. Microsoft Teams. And Telegram. Yes, that's awesome. Zoom. I'd like to see maybe Wire replace Zoom, but I understand. It's kind of important to have Zoom right now because that's become the de facto way of people using Zoom to work from home. You got your software installation packages and those type of things like Synaptic. Your sound setup and video player is MPV. It's got Simple Screen Recorder installed by default, which is really nice to see as well. So I don't have anything bad to say about PC-LinuxOS, and I think I'm going to try one of their mainline distributions. And to everybody who watched my last video on PC-LinuxOS Trinity Edition, I apologize for getting those things wrong, and I will do better in the future, I promise. All right, guys and gals, I hope you enjoyed this. This is PC-LinuxOS. You can head over to their website, PCLinuxOS.com. They have an XFCE, Plasma, and Mate editions that are the regular editions. regular desktop environments, as well as they have community themes, which is Openbox, Trinity, and LXQT. I'm really digging PC-LinuxOS, and I'm going to learn my way around in a virtual machine. But when I install my choice of desktop environment for PC-LinuxOS on the good old i3 and 550X Radeon HP Slimline I've got over here, I'll do a video on that. All right, guys and gals, we'll see you next time. Have a great day, y'all.